Welcome everyone to our 86th annual meeting, hopefully our last via Zoom. My name is Daniel Staffenberg. I'll be a little bit of your MC and guide for the evening. I think we're going to have some fun, but also recap what has been a pretty remarkable year. Before I get started, in the term of man plans and God laughs, I wanted to share we've had a variety of reach out and enthusiasm about an event we had worked with many of our synagogue and agency partners to plan to come together against anti-Semitism on June 9th. We received some information literally just about an hour ago that from local elected officials and partners that have asked that we postpone, not cancel, but postpone and move away from that June 9th date. Which we are in the process of doing. So if you saw on Facebook or elsewhere that the event is canceled, it is not. We are still committed to continuing to raise and support, not support anti-Semitism, raise awareness of ongoing increase in anti-Semitism, and we will be coming out with a new date for the Standing Against Anti-Semitism gathering shortly. We are very committed to the safety and security of our community, and we got some information that we wanted to adjust to. So that said, let me welcome everyone to the Jewish Community Federation of Annual Meeting. And we're going to start today a little differently with a message from one of our dynamic young leaders, the future of our community, Benjamin Edlovich. Benjamin, where are you there? Welcome. Benjamin is a Freeman High School graduate or soon to be graduate, going to attend the University of Virginia to build dynamic architecture in the world, and a participant in our Jewish Student Union, a federation funded project which supports and helps the teens in our high schools with Jewish life. Ben, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Staffenberg, and thank you all for letting me speak here tonight. You stole the first half of my speech, but I'll continue and move on, or just kind of skim through that. Like Mr. Staffenberg mentioned, I'm a senior at Freeman High School and president of our chapter of the Jewish Student Union. And because I know the parents out there will be interested, next year I'll be studying architecture at the University of Virginia. Don't worry, I have already received my welcome gift from the University Hillel. I grew up in the midst of very small Jewish communities. My dad's job took us overseas, so our family was always on the lookout for ways to stay connected to Judaism. As you can imagine, the scale of the Jewish community in Southeast Asia is relatively tiny. At the smallest, my family was part of what was only a couple of expats meeting for Shabbat once a month, and on the other end, we were part of a small and tight-knit congregation of a little over 100 people. There was something I came to deeply appreciate about these small and close communities. It was the sense of familiarity between members, most of whom were friends and recognizable by name. It was the diligent focus of discussion which factored in the importance of individual perspective. And it was the sense of responsibility felt by every member toward the health and spirit of the group. After moving back home to the US only a month short of 4 years ago, I felt somewhat lost in what was to me sort of an overwhelming new situation. Consequently, the relationship I had cultivated with my religion overseas began to break down. When I joined JSU about 2 years ago, I felt that I had rediscovered the close and supportive community that I had been missing since coming home. JSU fosters all of the things that have connected me so strongly to Judaism. We have interesting and in-depth conversations among thoughtful people who put their intelligence, kindness, and perspective into every contribution. It's a welcoming and supportive community that literally anyone can join in on. JSU has been unfalteringly consistent, crucially so during the pandemic, when our weekly meetings were one of few things keeping my mind from melting to mush. JSU and NCSY as a whole provide teens like me with these kinds of opportunities that can't be found anywhere elsewhere. I'd like to thank the Federation for keeping JSU afloat and allowing this program to continue for myself and other Richmond teens.
Thanks so much, Benjamin. As I'm about to introduce our current president of the Federation, I think I just saw our future in front of me as well. Benjamin, thank you. We wish you good luck at UVA. I know we'll see you at the Hillel Shabbatones and hopefully in person.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for those words. Before I do a quick run, I saw Delegate Betsy Carr on. I wanted to say thank you, Delegate, for joining us. We are deeply appreciative of all of our local, state, and federal elected officials who over the past year have been steadfast supporters of the community and been instrumental in our growth. So thank you for being with us. Ellen Renee, the floor is yours, my friend.
I also want to say thank you to Ben. That was so inspiring. You're very well spoken. And I too am looking forward to your leadership in the future. So thank you very much. That was awesome. Welcome everyone to our annual meeting. And as Daniel said, I hope the last one on Zoom. But we're gonna do what we gotta do for this one last time. Golda Meir once said, "Nothing in life just happens. It isn't enough to believe in something. You have to have the stamina to meet the obstacles and overcome the struggle." How appropriate for this last year. It has definitely been a struggle, but we overcame. In the midst of a global pandemic, our world turned upside down. We came together and accomplished so much. We responded to those in need and distributed over $303,000 in COVID relief funds to support individuals and our agencies. We led, advocated, and supported our agencies to successfully obtain over $4.5 million in PPP loans. And we did what we do best. Led by the amazing and dynamic Amy Nissenson and her professional partner, Jesse Feld, and their lay and professional teams, we held one of the most successful annual campaigns ever, raising $3.25 million, over $400,000 more than last year. And it wasn't just about the dollars. We brought the world to Richmond on multiple national conferences, educating and inspiring thousands in Richmond. We even made it possible for a local student to go back to Israel to continue her studies. We connected the isolated and alone with cooking classes, Israel tours, and multiple speaker events. We advocated for Israel and against anti-Semitism. We built interfaith connections, met with elected officials, and were a voice of strength and reason during a very challenging time. We launched a new digital reflector to keep our community informed and connected and amplified the amazing work of our agency and our synagogue partners. We mobilized volunteers to secure vaccination appointments for seniors from throughout Greater Richmond. We spent over 500 hours with volunteers. We educated our community, convened leadership, and provided critical support to our agencies and synagogues throughout Richmond. And then, on a moment's notice, we sprang into action and secured over 300 vaccines for members of our Jewish and general communities. We were there because we're always there. The case for federation has never been stronger and never been clearer. During this past surreal year, thanks to the network of services and support sustained by our annual campaign, we stepped up, reached out, and made a real and important difference in our community. As I often like to say, this is what we do. Federation was built for this. We were there before the pandemic. We will be there after the pandemic. 85 years of experience, thanks to you. We had the resources and the know-how to pivot quickly and effectively. Our community partners, volunteers, and community came together. We showed why this wonderful community is so special when Richmond comes together, because this is what we do. We were built for this. Kain Yehi Ratzon.
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. You ready?
Good evening, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us and experimenting with us today. The last year has been a challenge. We're going to come together today to hopefully craft something new and unique for Richmond, as only can happen when we all come together.
Learn how to participate differently.
I know I'm a little nervous, but I hope that throughout today we'll find some opportunity to share with each other and for each other and come out at the end a little stronger.
We're really excited to all work together with everyone here from all the different agencies of the Richmond Federation to write a song together from scratch over the next 75 minutes. The most important thing is we have to figure out what we can bring to the table that we feel is authentic.
So let's do this. Let's get creative.
Sharing life, richer blessing, sharing time, richer reflections. Chazak biyachad, we're better. We are Richmond together. Richmond together. Community and family go hand in hand. There for each other through the tears and joy. Shevet Achim we stand. Sharing life, richer blessing, sharing time, richer reflections. Chazak biyachad, we're better. We are Richmond together. Richmond together. Every day is a chance to learn how to hold our hope, to be creative and compassionate, leave no one alone. Sharing life, richer blessing, sharing time, richer reflections. Chazak biyachad, we're better. We are Richmond together.
We've gotten very creative with how we connect.
How fortunate we are that we're in a position to be able to help when others are struggling.
I think it was so touching that strangers and people in the community would reach out and say, whatever you need, I'm here for you. If it's your month's rent, if it's your groceries.
Community means family. Those two words go hand in hand for me.
I know I tried to call people, just have a list every couple weeks just to talk to them and have compassion and understanding. I think our community did a great job of reaching out to people.
We were able to connect with more people around the region rather than just our chapters, and I really enjoyed that.
Really kind of an awakening to how much we need each other.
We learned we had to make an effort to participate differently.
We had to reach out to hear other people's voices.
We Richmonders really step up.
Federation was there.
Connect with people that we never did before.
I think it broadened everybody's appreciation of that.
She stole my words.
I love that.
Kehila, Kedosha. Stepping up, reaching out. Sharing life.
This song would have never existed had it not been for us meeting you and spending a little bit over an hour in this little creative process.
The endless opportunities.
Connections were made on a more deeper basis.
Thank you all for spending the evening with us.
We are a family. We are together. We are a community.
Shevet Achim Gam Yachad.
This is what we do. As we look forward, we know the challenges that remain and are poised and ready to dream about what our Jewish future looks like. We will soon launch a strategic planning process led by Federation President-elect Amy Nissenson, because we know that to address the needs of our community tomorrow, we have to act today. How will we inspire Jewish connections, build community, and support robust and varied Jewish experiences in a post-COVID world? How will we ensure that generations to come have the resources to meet those needs? How will we strengthen and deepen connections to Israel and worldwide Jewry? These are big questions that demand and require big thinking. But as I have said before, we are built for this. We are also relaunching Honeymoon Israel to build community and bring young couples to enhance their Jewish connections with each other and Israel. We have launched a mentor sisterhood program with 15 young and 15 seasoned women to build long-lasting relationships and grow future leaders. We are thinking about Jewish life and Jewish experiences differently and learning from and wrestling with each other in the process. We don't have all the answers, but what I do know is that over this past year, we had great strength and we can be Jewish together. B'yachad, lev alev. I want to thank Susan Adolph, Richard Samet, Zach Brenner, and David Fracken, who are rotating off the board. Thank you for your years of service and commitment to our community. I would also like to give my personal thanks to the Federation, professional staff and board, and community CEOs and lay leaders. You have all been heroes. And it has been a labor of love for me and my superhero partner in crime, Daniel Staffenberg. We are blessed to be part of a community that truly lives by the code, Kol Arivim Zel Hazeh. All Jews take care of one another. Thank you all for the privilege and honor and trust to let Daniel and I lead the charge. And now I'd like to present the President's Award. This award is given to an individual who has gone above and beyond. This year's recipient is someone I have personally known for almost 40 years, but I have watched him truly become a leader in the last 5. We used to have a lot of parking lot conversations where he would ask me tons of questions about Federation, the whys and the hows. And then he decided to jump on board, and he did it with both feet and all in. In a short time, he has gone from new board member to allocations chair and executive board member. But it's not only has he done this in a most thoughtful and inspiring way, he has been a leader for allocations. He has also maintained his curiosity about everything Federation and has enjoyed himself and engaged himself to learn as much as he can. He has also become part of the National Young Leadership Board. I am personally so proud and awed by his dedication to our entire community. And it is my sincere privilege to present the 2021 President's Award to Josh Goldberg.
Mazel tov.
Mazel tov, Josh.
Thank you very much.
You have a surprise coming.
Oh, there's people here.
There's little people there.
We want to see the little people. No offense.
Go behind that one. Go behind that one. Go behind that one.
Thank you very much.
This is the duck of box because you are someone who is always giving your time, your treasure, and your talent. Oh my gosh.
This is the reason.
4 beautiful children, the future of Richmond.
Thank you, Ellen Renee. Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. And now I'd like to introduce Nanette Shore, who has chaired the nominating committee.
Thank you. Mazel tov, Josh. Good evening. My name is Nanette Shore, and I'm honored and humbled to serve as the immediate past president of the Jewish Community Federation of Richmond. In that role, I am tasked, along with our nominating committee, with identifying and recruiting outstanding individuals to join our board of directors and lead our community. Leadership is not easy. It does not come naturally to many, and it does not come without tough decisions. The members of the nominating committee used their leadership skills to navigate the selection of the slate, knowing these decisions will shape the landscape of our Jewish community for years to come. I am grateful to the members of our committee for their thoughtful and expert guidance throughout the process. And the members of the nominating committee were Faye Slotnick, Claudia Biegler, Adam Winston, Josh Rubenstein, Ellen Renee Adams, Melissa Zinder, Amy Nissenson, Charlie Shear, and Shelley Golden. Thank you so much each for your service. We do appreciate it. I'm honored to present our 2021-2022 Jewish Community Federation of Richmond Executive Board, a group of talented leaders committed to addressing pressing issues in the Jewish world today and dedicated to cultivating and sustaining a strong global Jewish community now and for the generations to come. I present the Federation slate of officers for 2021-22. President Ellen Renee Adams, Vice Presidents Stuart Siegel and Matthew Grossman, General Campaign Chair and President-elect Amy Nissenson, Men's Division Chairs Brian Green and David Galpern, Secretary Treasurer Howard Goldfein, Assistant Treasurer and Allocations Chair Josh Goldberg, Jewish Community Relations Committee Chair Amy Melnick Scharf, FRD Major Gifts Chair Seth Kaplan, at-large members Lynn Schwartz, Dan Siegel, and Jim Weinberg, Chair of the Rabbinic Council Rabbi Hal Shevitz, immediate past President Nanette Shore, and our honorary Vice Presidents Mark Sasiski and Rick Aaronstein. The proposed new board members for the class of 2024 filling a 3-year term are Sam Revinson, Sylvia Farbstein, Melissa Zinder, and Adam Plotkin. Proposed board members beginning a second 3-year term for the class of 2024 are Irv Blank, Brian Green, Helen Griffin, and Dr. Bob Weisberger. Proposed are the new board members for the class of 2023 filling a 2-year term, Graham Sheridan. A proposed board member for the class of 2022 filling a 1-year term, Robin Jackson. We also take a moment to remember 2 legends whose impact and support of our community continues even today. Honorary Vice Presidents of blessed memory, Neil November and Jerome Gumenik. Neil and Jerry had the forethought to think about generations to come, and today our community benefits from their legacies in uncountable ways. At this time, we will accept any other nominations from the audience. Hearing none. Do I hear a motion from the audience to accept the slate of officers and new board members as presented?
I make a motion to approve the proposed slate as presented.
Thank you, Lynn. Is there a second?
Second.
I second the motion for the proposed slate.
Thank you very much. And we will call for the vote, and you should see a poll. If you could vote, please. See a poll in a minute.
One or 2 more votes, but it's looking pretty unanimous.
Great. Is the poll complete, Daniel? Okay, thank you very much. The motion passes. Mazel tov and thank you to each of you. I will now install the officers and board members. Our community is very fortunate to have such great leadership as we navigate into the future. Throughout your term in office, each of you will be called upon to set direction and make decisions for the benefit of our Jewish community locally and overseas. Your decisions will have enormous impact on building, strengthening, and sustaining our community today and for generations to come. Our community's children and grandchildren will be impacted by your decisions and your actions you make over the next few years. Your thoughtful contemplation, evaluation, Collaboration and cooperation will be tested. There will be times where you will be challenged to think about the future in a way which urges you to embrace new ideas and decisions that are best for our community. You are charged with using your leadership and experience to guide the Richmond Jewish community in a way that moves us forward to take on whatever the future may bring. I know you are all up for the challenge and welcome it. May you find the courage to follow your convictions, embracing change and growth, while recognizing the holy task we share in serving the greater good for our community. With the support of the members in attendance at this annual meeting, I hereby install you as officers and members of the Jewish Community Federation of Richmond Board of Directors. Mazel tov, and thank you very much. And now I will turn it over to Jim Weinberg.
Thank you, Nanette. It's my pleasure to introduce Miriam Davidow, the 2021 Neil November Distinguished Community Service Award honoree. Miriam's devotion to the Jewish community and volunteerism honors the legacy of Neil November. For Miriam, education has always been a priority. She served as an educator, mentor, trainer, professional consultant, and advisor to many. It began with Miriam's undergraduate degree in early childhood education, continued as a graduate degree in human growth and development, and a master's in public administration with an emphasis on nonprofit administration. She has taught and mentored in the Richmond Public School System, the Weinstein JCC Preschool, and Temple Bethel's Religious School, and was a trainer for Mentor Virginia, formerly known as the Virginia Mentoring Partnership. Miriam is a founder of Richmond Jewish Coalition for Literacy. She was the first director of Hammer Kaz, the Teacher Resource Center, and was a facilitator in the Weinstein JCC's Parenting Center. She is also a founding member of the Micaiah Initiative, a community-wide faith-based mentoring, tutoring organization. Miriam has been a longtime chair of the Grants Committee for the Richmond Jewish Foundation, an active member of the Virginia Center for Inclusive Communities, and a longtime member of the board of directors of the Virginia Holocaust Museum. The list of Jewish engagements goes on and on. Although devoted to the Jewish community in her extensive volunteer work, Miriam has professionally served the Jewish community as well as Assistant Executive Director for the Jewish Community Federation of Richmond, and before that as Director of Community Services and Director of Jewish Education. Miriam also has a long history of serving as an advocate for many causes. Just a few, she served as the Children's Health Insurance Action Committee Coordinator for the Virginia Healthcare Foundation and a legislative advocate for the American Jewish community. Miriam has been honored by a number of organizations, and her honors include, among others, the YWCA's Outstanding Women's Award, the Virginia Center for Inclusive Communities Humanitarian Award, the Richmond Jewish Foundation's President's Award, and awards from the Virginia Mentoring Partnership, Junior League of Richmond, and Jewish Women International. As I think you will hear from Miriam, these many and varied experiences have built one upon another, each position and job leading to a novel experience and engagement with new and varied people. Please join me in congratulating Miriam Davidow as the recipient of the Neil November Distinguished Community Award and on a lifetime of service to our community. Mazel tov.
Thank you, Jim. Your leadership has taught me so much, and I'm honored by your deeds of loving kindness and your words this evening. I am grateful. I am grateful for all those who had faith in me to become the community supporter, advocate, and initiator that I am today. I am grateful for the USY Youth Advisor Mentor who saw in me as a team what I didn't see in myself and helped guide me in the early days of leadership. I am grateful for those who guided me professionally, helping me learn the art of multitasking, diplomacy, and humbleness. They who gave me opportunities to grow and to learn. It was for sure that I had the good fortune to work for Mary and Rob and Marcia and Avi and Harold and so many others. And I'm grateful for what grew from each of my encounters in the professional world. I am grateful for the leaders I've had the privilege of working with over the years, so many who became my mentors and my models for what serving in the community really looks like. To receive this award named for Neil November of blessed memory, an icon in this community, is really amazing. To Kathy and Tommy, Susan, Rona, B, Irv, Hetty, Francis, Jim, Franklin, you each, along with so many others in our community, are the essence of the work that is done and the connections that we make within and outside of our own community. I'm so fortunate to have learned from each of you. I am grateful to my colleagues and friends who always support my antics and participate in the fun of serving our community in so many ways. I am particularly grateful for the dozens of Holocaust survivors in the community who taught me and guided me in how to deal with life, no matter how the cards were dealt, and how to take just one more step forward. In their honor and in their memory, I give thanks that I was present in their lives. I am grateful for my family who, like in no other year, has been ever present to the challenges that we face with a kind word, a gentle hug, sometimes virtually, love and support. And to the family on whose shoulders I stand, I would not be here without their very survival. The freedom, much less my birth, I was fortunate to grow up in was not destined to even happen had the throes of evil persisted. Their love and guidance allowed me to be the person I needed to be, and their strength gave me the courage and the ability to look ahead in spite of difficult odds. For them all, I am grateful. And to the Federation, I have always marveled at all that can be accomplished when we work together. Federation leadership and staff shined in their effort to ensure we stayed together during this very challenging past year. In spite of these trials and tribulations, Federation staff and leadership marshaled on for the safety and security of our community and beyond. For that, I and the entire community is grateful. Kol HaKavod, may you go from strength to strength. This past year, I looked for silver linings. I found them in so many friends far and wide who shared a message of caring. Silver linings were abundant in my supportive children and in their children, my littles, whose lifestyle change allowed for so much bonding and time spent together. And for my partner in this often circuitous journey, I found constant companionship and love. For that and more, I am grateful. We learned a long time ago that no one can do everything, but everyone can do something. But together we can do it all for the sake of our community and for the world as we have for thousands of years. Kol Yisrael Aravim Zeh Bazeh, all Jews are responsible one for another. It is with pride and pleasure that I take on that responsibility. Thank you so much for this recognition.
Mazel tov.
Mazel tov. Miriam, thank you so much. And I'm seeing the chat full with, wow, well deserved, beautiful honor, and your words mean a lot. I've always respected Miriam, was one of the early people that I got to work with, and I have this very distinct picture of in my mind of a dynamic force sitting at 9 Mile Road at the Henrico County Public Schools, working not just on behalf of the Jewish community, but the entire community, our Muslim, our Islamic, our friends of all faiths, to make sure that we're recognizing the full and diverse panoply of Richmond. And I just sat there in awe at that time, Miriam, watching you just work and hit the points and be so respectful and quietly a dynamic leader. I can think of very few better people today to give the award in honor of Neil November. So Mazel Tov and thank you for all you do. Speaking of another dynamic partner, Ellen Renee, who knew we would have 4 years of this. Thank you. You are become not only a friend, and I do promise that this will be your last year as president. I'm thrilled and excited to have Amy Nissenson joining us as our president-elect. I continue to be every day grateful for the wisdom, the honesty, and the passion that you exude every day in the way in which you lead our community. I know this was a rough year for you, being pulled away from each other, but you led us with care and compassion. To our professional team at the Federation, I know there have been words here, but I am so inspired every day by each of you. The work that we together made happen really was remarkable. And if you'd asked me this time last year, would we have been able to do it? I would have been encouraged, but what we accomplished says so much about each one of you. I'm grateful to work with you. To my own family, Jill and my boys, who I think have been blocked out somehow of the Zoom, so you'll have to share with them that I said good words. They're my rock. They're the reason I do it. When Josh held up his little one, mine unfortunately are getting a little bigger, but that is why we do this. Thank you, Josh. Steal the show. And I am grateful for their support. During college, which now feels long ago, I lived for 2 years without a TV. No any screens of any kind. I went to school, headed over to the JCC, hung with friends, listened to music. I knew that sitting alone in my pretty dark basement apartment at that time wasn't for me. I needed community, social interaction, to be around people. Who would have thought that these many, many years later, I would find community on a screen? It's been far from perfect for sure, but I can't even count how many times I turned on a Zoom, saw a face, and felt comfort, felt at home. In our volunteers making holy our work, in our Jewish professional colleagues supporting, lifting up, and working together, those were moments of immense strength on that screen. Don't get me wrong, I am ready and eager to get back together, to travel again together to Israel, to celebrate Simchas together. I found that throughout the past year, though, that great strength was in connecting, in exploring new ideas, in trying new things, in some ways we were forced, working together in new and interesting ways. I also enjoyed the closing of distance that Zoom allowed us. It was so easy to hop on a Zoom and build bridges with our friends and family in Israel, or even, as our new board member Sam Revinson will tell us, Zaporozhye, Ukraine, to feel close while we were distant. In this week's Torah portion, Shelach, we read of Moses sending out a group of emissaries, one from each tribe, out into the land of Israel as scouts, or in Hebrew, shlichim. The group is described as the best and the brightest of the Israelites at the time. One of the exciting new ideas that came out of this year and our work with our partnership communities here in the Southeast US and Israel was very similar to Moses. I'm sure many of you know about our Partnership Together program, which works to build meaningful and lasting relationships between Israelis in Hadera and 13 Southeast Jewish communities. We've often welcomed emissaries, shlichim, from Israel to our summer camps at the Weinstein JCC or our overnight camps. We've sent teachers and young leaders to learn together, and teens from Hadera and Richmond often spend weeks in the summer in Israel and here in Richmond. For the first time ever, it is our turn to send a shaliach from the US to spend 10 months in Hadera, Israel. This groundbreaking program pairs 2 post-college young adults and sends them to Israel to share and teach about US Jewish life in Israel and how we are interconnected. We've been blessed to have Benny Winkleman among those selected as one of the representatives in this groundbreaking program. Benny, I believe you're with us tonight if you want to join me on screen.
I'm here.
Welcome, my friend, and thanks for being our emissary to Israel. Tell us a little bit about what you're feeling right now and what the future is holding for you.
Absolutely. Thank you for that nice introduction, Daniel. Honestly, I'm a little nervous. There's a lot of people on this Zoom. I feel like it'd be easier even in person. But yeah, my name is Benny Winkleman, as many of you know, or I'm sure I look through the names. I know a lot of you, though I haven't been home too much lately. And I'm super excited and honored to be able to bring this, the flavor of our community. It's a small community, but very vibrant, and be able to represent us in Israel. My family hosted a lot of those scouts and shlichim for the last 20 years or so. We look forward to it every year. And my sisters and I used to say, one day we're going to be American Scouts. One day we're going to go do that. And it didn't exist, but now it does. And I can't think of a better way to spend a year than get to be that person who gets to pilot this program and represent our city. I feel very prepared to do that, having, kind of walked through every aspect of the Jewish life here in Richmond, from growing up at the JCC and doing all the programs there, participating or working or whatever it was, to going to RTA and yeshiva, whatever it was, whatever you could do, I was in it and I was happy to do it. And now I'm so excited to get yet another opportunity to represent Richmond on a global scale and get to spend 10 months living in Israel, my 4th time going, but it only gets more exciting every time. So thank you guys so much for picking me for that. And for sending me. I look forward to sharing all the programs and different things that we do when I'm there with you guys over Zoom, and when I know a little more about what's going to happen specifically. So,
Benny, we're excited to have you as our emissary, and I know you'll do wonderful. Having hosted a similar program in our own family, I will tell you it will not only change you, but it will change those that you come in contact with, and I can think of no better person to be our emissary. So thank you, and thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Back to the Torah portion. Also in the Torah portion, and you heard us speak about the shlichim sent by Moses to scope out the promised land. Well, the portion tells us that upon their return, 10 of the emissaries got together, a little nervous about the task ahead, and decided to provide a negative report about the land of Israel. While they acknowledged it's a pretty beautiful place and it has potential, they reported that the task of settling the land was far too difficult and almost impossible. They even suggested that God's plan be scrapped. Remarkably, and where I think we have lots to learn, 2 of the 12 leaders sent out had the vision to chart another path. Joshua and Caleb came back with a different story. They encouraged the people to have faith in God and pleaded for them to stay true to God's plan. In doing so, Josh and Caleb exhibited great courage, but also presence of mind, the intellectual and moral fortitude to see the situation the way it was and not succumb to the opinion of the others in the group. Remember, these were among the best leaders of the Jewish people at the time, people of considerable power and persuasion, of great moral stature and spiritual insight. To swim against this tide, to withstand the immense pressure of groupthink, was no small feat. As we move forward as a community, I think there is much to learn from Joshua and Caleb, especially as so much of our world today seems fragmented and otherness dominant. How do we honor our values of dignity, respect, and be inspired to withstand the pressures of groupthink, social media, and sound bites in our own lives? As we emerge from our COVID isolation, I pray that we proactively live our morals for ourselves and our families by associating with good people, listening and respecting each other, and learning from those we may not agree with. To understand that as Jews, our history deeply connects us, not only to each other, but to the world. This is our opportunity to start fresh in making the world a better place. This is what inspires me in our work at Federation every day, treating others with dignity, respect, and love. And I'm grateful for each of you and the role you play, and look forward to being Richmond together in person soon. Thank you so much for all of your involvement, and I'm going to turn it back to Ellen Renee for a final word, and then at the end we'll bring everybody on screen to do some well wishes and have our last, hopefully, virtual cocktail party.
Thank you again, everyone, for being here. I'm sorry for the technical glitches, for some people getting not allowed in. That is definitely oops on our part. But thank you all. I can't wait to be with everybody in person and work hard for the best future. We have the best community, and I appreciate all of your caring and your concern and your dedication, because we are Richmond together.